Today we are diving into The Bear Season 4. Welcome to Screens in Focus, the podcast where we talk about TV and movies. I'm Diana. Renee is back. Hi, Renee. How are you?
Hello. I'm excited about this episode. How are you?
I'm great. I am so excited because the Emmy nominations are out and The Bear has 13 nominations.
Amazing.
I know. There were so many great nominations, like Severance had 27. The Studio, which I have been raving about, had a record number for a freshman year. And there are so many. The only really big snub that I was so mad about was one of our favorites, which is Dark Winds.
Don't understand it. I mean, did anybody watch it?
I know. And
I mean, those performances were unbelievable.
I'm like, Zahn, come on. I was like so rooting for you, thinking that this could happen. And I even saw that AMC posted something about Oscar snub and had him on there. And I was like, oh, this is killing me because it's such a good series for anybody who hasn't seen it. It's good. It's so good. So very watchable.
And I feel like sometimes AMC just kind of gets the shaft with these things. You know, how The Walking Dead, there's been stellar performances and they just, don't even consider them, you know. And so I don't know if there's some kind of beef with AMC out there somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sad because I was like looking through and I'm like, wait a minute, that should be on here. So
yeah,
disappointed.
Well, in you saying the beef, we can get back to The Bear. And I want to start off with our question of the day. And so I want to pose this to you and everyone else out there. I want to know what dish that you saw on The Bear would you want to eat? Okay, so I know, right? Anything. Just serve me anything. But we're going to answer that later on. But because I want you to think about it as we talk about the episode, we'll figure it out. And we hope that you will chime in out there and let us know what you want to eat that they've made, either in the restaurant or at their home or wherever they're at. So I can't wait to talk about that. So, this show, I think about it like, what is it that makes it so good? And yes, it's the food. It's the music. It's the feel. It's that authenticity that I feel from it. I feel like it's a dysfunctional family, and I love that. These characters, you can't help but like root for them, even though they have flaws. And so that's what draws me to this series. Is there anything that sticks out to you, Renee, that that you love about it or why you love it?
Yeah, like this season particular, I loved. I think there was just so many pivotal moments in this season. I mean, there always are, but this time I think they we love to see the restaurant. I personally love seeing all that because I love to cook and I've worked in food service and I've owned a coffee shop, so it's fun to see like this, like very elevated from where I have ever been experience in the restaurant industry. And so I love seeing that. But this season focused on the people, and that's what I think, like The Walking Dead, they focused on the survivors, not the undead so much. And people can relate better. Viewers are watching it and they're like, well, I can kind of relate to this, even though I'm not in an apocalypse, I'm not in a restaurant. I can relate to this. And it gives this more authentic feel to it because of those relatable pieces to it. And I love that they're just receiving so much recognition for, the writing, the performances, the music, like we always like to talk about the music, because it does something to the story. So I just think it's just that they do dive into the personal aspect of it instead of just focusing on the restaurant, but especially this season. I've really, really enjoyed this season because of that.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear you say that because me too. And it's funny because it's so chaotic, so busy, so you would think like, has so much anxiety, but I think that's what makes it feel so real. It just does. And we're going to dive into it because it starts off with that. Well, to me, it starts off with that clock that is brought out to everyone. And it's like, this big looming clock with it ticking down, and it shows the pressure and the chaos. And if we don't make it, we're not going to survive. If we don't make it by the time this clock gets to zero. And so it hangs over everybody. And to me, especially Carmy, because he feels the weight of that responsibility. And we're going to leap to the end here, because Carmy leaving or saying goodbye to the restaurant is so huge. It's like, to me, it was such a shocker. I was like, what? So I'm really going to want to get your take on that and what you think it might mean for them and all of them. And if you think, is Carmy running away, or is he more just self-aware and knows what they need? So there's just so much to unpack. So tell me your thoughts on all of this.
Well, of course, first it was a shock because it was like, oh, they didn't expect to see that one happen. Like you could feel things that, like you said, the tension and that clock and all, there's things happening. So there's, like it's coming to a head, like what's going to happen. But I didn't expect that for sure. But I think he'll be back. I mean, that's in his blood. And I don't know, maybe he'll just step to the side and not be quite in the foreground, let Sydney run things or whatever. But I don't think he's leaving. I just think he had a lot of things happen in this season. There's a lot of emotional things that he went through to reevaluate his life and how he was handling the restaurant. It was like kind of like tunnel vision, and I'm going to do this the way I want to do it. And I'm not listening to anybody else, because when you're good at something, you're like, I know best. I know how to do this. It's my restaurant. I'm doing this.
I know.
And that's what he did. And he did okay, but then until it wasn't, and then I think that clock gave him perspective on everything. Like he had to really quit being this tunnel vision and kind of step back and look at the whole picture. And so I think that really changed his whole perspective this season. But I just don't think he'll abandon his dream altogether. At least that's what I keep telling myself, because that's what I want to happen.
Yes.
So that's where I'm at this point. Maybe in denial.
Well, I'm right there with you, because I felt like Sydney felt, because she seemed so upset that like she couldn't even fathom it. And neither could I, because I'm like, what do you mean? This show is you. What do you mean you're going to leave? If you're leaving, I'm leaving. No, it's just he's so important to it all. And you're right, it's in his blood. But, he says, this is all I've known, and I kind of need to figure out who I am, because I don't know who I am besides this. But at the same time, sometimes when you immerse yourself into something so much, what's wrong with that being you, But I also understand for him, he's going through this grief of losing his brother and what that means, and his family. And so maybe he feels he's disconnected from so many things. And first he has to find himself in order for him to come back. And that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that he'll just move away and maybe move to the business aspect of it to help, it move forward. But he has to come back. And I think also part of it is the way he has treated everybody there. Not so much to me this season, but the previous seasons, he was pretty rough on a lot of people. So
almost everybody.
Yeah. So I think that's what he's feeling, that, look, I need to step away so I'm not doing this to everybody, and then I'll come back and hopefully be a better person, which he will, and, move forward from there. But yeah, I couldn't imagine him not being here. So I'm not really sure. But that whole episode, that was so emotionally gutting. And when I watched it the second time, it was even more so.
Yeah.
The conversations that he had with Sydney, and they were like talking over each other, and they were both coming from their own perspective. In fact, I felt kind of sorry for Carmy in this, because I think after watching him throughout all the episodes, we kind of knew where he was coming from. But I feel like both Sydney and Richie thought, oh, he's leaving because we're not making it. And now what are we going to do? And he didn't give us any warning and he's walking out. What are you doing? And they weren't giving him a chance to explain himself because I really do think he was coming from a better place, a self-awareness place. And then with him and Richie, with talking about Mikey and how they were both jealous or envious because Carmy felt like, oh, you know my family better than me. And Richie felt like he let him down. I don't know if he felt he let Mikey down and he let Carmy down, but whoever he let down, he felt that Carmy resented him for that. So a lot of rawness came out of this. A lot of vulnerability came out of this. Did you have any feelings on that?
Yeah, I love, again, the real feel of that conversation between Sydney and Carmy, because, I'm sure most people have been in that situation where there's so much frustration, lack of conversation between the two, where you're literally just everything's spilling out. It's just like, this verbal vomiting, you just can't stop because it's just going and going. And they're talking over each other because they're both trying to get those frustrations out. And so it was something that needed to be done. But again, I agree that she didn't understand where he was coming from. And so that made it more emotional for her because she's like, you're letting me down kind of thing, where he's like, I'm having some clarity here. I need to clear my head, but she wasn't privy to that. Again, the conversation or lack of conversation there. So, but yeah, when him and Richie I was in tears listening to the two of them. And I'll probably cry in church trying to say it, but just how they didn't realize the three of them, the relationships there, and instead of like bonding together over their grief over this, they were like jealous of one another and their relationship with Mikey or lack of, or whatever that all was. And that was some tough stuff, but I loved it. It was the acting was incredible. They just did unreal, with that. But yeah, I think that overall it's Carmy coming from a place of this. He's got a little bit of clarity now that he's actually dealing with his grief instead of just suppressing it and like, okay, that happened, I'm just going to not, And yeah, I just thought that, the whole episode was, I've liked all the seasons, but this season was just incredible. But that season finale was bonkers. It was just so good.
I can feel my chills right now going up and down my arm. It's because you're saying everything that I'm feeling. It is. I have to go back and watch the first two seasons again. I do remember season 3, but I'd have to go back and watch the first two. And I know 2 had some pivotal episodes that were really well regarded. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, this season was really good. It was just so phenomenal. This was such a great finale to see all that because it was so emotional and the awareness and everything else. What did you think of Sugar coming in and hearing it? And she wasn't mad. She was like, I'm your big sister, basically, right? I believe she's the older sister, right? But I feel like she is. I feel like she's like, I'm your big sister and I'm hugging you because this is what you need. It's almost like she knew, or not she knew, but she was okay with it because she felt like, I don't need to lose another brother.
Right. Yeah, exactly. She's already lost the one brother. And so she doesn't want, like, if this is what he needs to get right with himself, to get right with his emotions and whatever, she's like, okay, I'm going to be there for you. Because she doesn't want to see the same thing happen to her other brother. I thought that was really good. When she walked in, I didn't know how she was going to react because, she can be kind of emotional. I mean, she just had a baby. She's kind of emotional, And so, no, I thought that was incredible because that's what he needed. He needed that sibling to be, like, they have that common loss. And that loss is different than what he and the others experience. It's their sibling bond, it's a little different. But yeah, I loved that, how okay, this is what we're doing and I'm going to be here for you kind of thing, But yeah, that was really good.
Yeah. Okay, since we're talking about this and we both love this episode, so it appears to be one of our favorite episodes, I want to know, what other favorite episodes or standout moments you saw in this season.
So one of my favorite, best moments for me was Carmy and Donna, because that needed to happen. He needed it, she needed it. And as a mother and a daughter, it was like, not that I've ever experienced the exact same thing, but we've all experienced things where, I don't know, a lot of moms, we don't feel like we're raising our kids well enough, or we're not doing what we should, that kind of thing. And this had a lot more components to it to make it more,
Yeah.
more dynamic and everything like that. But a lot of moms haven't done well for various reasons. But on the flip side, a lot of times children will, you don't want your parents to be bad. Your parents, they're your parents. You're going to love them forever, whether they've done a good job or they've done a bad job. You're going to love them, but you might not like them. And to me, that's a huge thing. I can love a lot of people, but I don't always like them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's where they were with this relationship. Yeah, well, you're my mom. I'm going to love you, but I do not like you, and I'm not going to be with you. So I think a lot of times kids try to, even though there's these issues, instead of facing them, because you don't want to tell your mom you didn't raise me or you didn't do these things right. But it gave them the opportunity for her. He needed to hear that she knew what she did,
Yeah.
that she knew she was wrong, that she didn't do what she was supposed to as a mother. And a lot of times in any kind of relationship, hearing that is like, that's what I needed. I needed to hear you admit to the fact that you are conscious of the fact that's how you treated me, or that's how you did things.
Right.
And I just thought that was I'm so glad they had that conversation. I don't know what'll happen in the future, because was it the last season that her and Sugar kind of made amends a little too,
Yeah.
So now you've got this where, again, they're all sharing that same grief. There's that huge, huge grief that's just hovering over this family. But I just thought that was just neat to see. And I think her admission and apology and things are going to go a long way repairing their relationship.
Yeah.
And I just love that. I just thought that was such a phenomenal way, him cooking for her and just all that. I just loved it. I thought it was so good.
I loved it too. It was so good. I'm so glad you brought up that. And yeah, it was just such a pivotal episode. And you're right about Sugar and her last season. So now it was their turn. Yeah. And I love how he takes her apology and just moves forward with it. Like, Mom, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And wait, he says it first, right? Or does she say it first? I think he says it first. And then she says, I love you too.
Regardless, the words were said. And they,
Yes.
yeah. But it was almost like she needed to say the things she needed to say, and he needed to hear those things before they could even think about saying that, because they still probably feel that love because they're mother and son. But just like, you need to hear that sometimes. You've got to hear that person understands the wrong they did. And you can forgive them. It doesn't excuse what they did or anything like that. But to still hear it from their own mouth, that just means so much more.
He was so receptive to her, because sometimes you can get stuck in that grief and all that you felt during your whole childhood and through being an adult. And it could stick with you for so long. But he was receptive, because I was ready for him to not be. I mean, I didn't think he would not be, but some people, I've seen it in other films and TV and even in real life, where people aren't ready. They're not ready. It's like, whoa, you've done way too much damage to me. I'm not ready to.
This means nothing.
Yeah, exactly. This means nothing, because you just might relapse again, or you've done this how many times before. And is this the true time that it's going to be different? So yeah, so just awesome episode. One of my favorite episodes, there's so many moments, so many episodes, was episode 3, the scallop. And for me, because it was the whole restaurant, Richie, especially with that family coming in and celebrating that young person's cancer survival anniversary, I believe it is. But she was celebrating a big moment in her life, and she wanted certain things. And she wanted that Italian beef sandwich. And they brought it out to her. And as he's bringing it out to her, Carmy stops Richie And Richie's all, well, what are you doing? And basically Carmy's plating it up really nicely, which I thought was just a beautiful gesture too.
Mhm.
Like, I'm adding to this what you already bringing. And then he brings it out and he gives it to him after he had already given him the scallops. And then we see that person that's sitting over toward the side, and you're like, oh, are you, who are you? Are you a critic? Who are you? And then Richie takes them outside where everybody together has decided to make snow in Chicago at that time. And all of that just warmed my heart that this group of people would work together to make someone's meal, dinner, their celebration that much more important. And I truly believe there are so many restaurants, so many people that's what they do. People that really love cooking, and they love making you feel something and celebrating a moment. And even Carmy had said it at one point. We are, and even it might have been Mikey. Remember in the very beginning, which leads into my other favorite moment. One of my other favorite moments was when Mikey and Carmy were talking about opening a restaurant, and as Carmy was making marinara sauce, and they talk about what food means to people and how important it is. And that's what they were doing in episode 3, was just making something so special. And it was a heartfelt moment. It wasn't like episode 10 where we're very upset and it's heartbreaking and emotional. It was more of a uplifting, warm moment. Did you have any more?
Yeah, I also Sydney's episode too. I think it was Worms is that episode where she's getting her hair done and she's talking about her cousin or all that. We just learned just by those conversations and how she went about that. Like, she was just hanging out with that girl, but she's like going through all these, thoughts in her head, and she's like trying to, she's got tough decisions to make, but she's trying to put them on a level that this young girl can kind of see, like, oh yeah. And, she gives her the young girl actually gives her wise advice. Well, maybe not wise, but kind of like, well, you should probably do this kind of thing, but I just thought it was a fun, we did learn a lot more about Sydney this season. We got to see her with her dad and things like that. So it was good to get almost like it was kind of building. Let's learn more about her, because then next season we'll see where she lands, probably at the restaurant, at least in a more prominent position. But we didn't know that at the time. But I love that episode just because we got a little more insight to just her outside of the restaurant, seeing her get her hair done, talking to the girl, just doing, normal things instead of cooking, and stressing over everything. So I like that episode a lot just because we got more, character building for her.
Yeah, that was a really good episode.
Yeah.
I also liked a moment, and it was in episode 6, and it was where they are all in the kitchen and they're arguing. But what I loved about that was the dynamic that they were showing between everybody, and that Luca and also what is her name? The chef that is helping Richie, the one getting everybody organized. Well, they are asking questions of because they don't know who everybody is. Richie and Carmy are fighting. I think it was about the wedding. I can't remember the main argument, but the main argument didn't even matter because it was Richie and Carmy at each other, kind of cutting each other down, while Luca were getting filled in by the other chefs, this happened.
Yeah.
This happened. Oh my gosh, the timing to do this and the performances of each of these actors was just it was like chef's kiss. It really was, because I just loved watching that whole dynamic. Plus, it was the jabs that they were giving each other, because basically Carmy was telling Richie, hey, Frank's a super good guy. He's probably better than you. He's great. And then we have Richie cutting down Carmy because of Claire. Oh, maybe you should get stuck in a refrigerator again or whatever it was. So it was crazy, the things that they were flinging at each other. But it's interesting after we see the final episode, how that was just what people do. People argue all the time about what the problem isn't, just to throw jabs at each other, just to get at each other, because truly in the end what it was that they resented or were jealous of each other, but this is just how it came out earlier in the season. And that's just what we do in life, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was good. It was very good. I kind of forgot about all that as you're saying it, that I was like, playing in my mind again. I was like, it was very good. Very well done. Yeah.
What I want to know, what did you think of the wedding when they all got under the table?
Oh, that's right. That was so fun. I loved it so much. It was like this little girl just needed to have that. And then they all came under, and they're all like in this, different, not about the wedding, not about the same thing, but they're all experiencing similar, whatever is in their life as this little girl. The big thing for her is dancing in front of everybody. And everybody else is like, oh, yeah, we can totally relate because I can't do this and I can't, and it was just such a fun. I thought that was just really neat how they did that and put everybody together. And there was a lot of bonding and a lot of character growth there too, to see different things with the different characters. And yeah, that was really well done.
That was so well done. I loved how it started off with just a couple of people, and then, people start coming under the table, and it just introduces new perspective, new people. It was great. I absolutely loved that moment
Yeah,
for
that was
them.
really good. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the main characters. You talked a little bit about Sydney and having that one episode, learning about her. But Sydney had a big choice here because she had to decide if she was going to the other restaurant or if she was going to stay. And I don't think we knew really which way she was going to go. And so, when do you think she changed her mind?
I think it was the last meeting with that. It was Adam, right? I think the last meeting with him when it was just so staged. Everything was so, to me, I was like, this is happening. This is happening. There's, it just seemed so fake. And like, so I think she was like, wait a minute, this is too good to be true. It can't, she's worked in a kitchen. She knows how things are, regardless of where you're at. It's still a kitchen. It's still the kitchen. It's still a restaurant. It's still how things are. But he's making it out to, oh, it's going to be so smooth. It's going to be so great, blah, blah, blah. And, maybe so, but there's still going to be elements of the chaos and elements of all those things. And I think she was just kind of like, this is just way too good to be true. So, and she's not unhappy where she's at. It was just a possibility of something better, but
Mhm.
then I think she kind of saw through that facade and was like, this is not going to be better. And I've already got a very well positioned where I'm at, kind of thing. So that's when I thought she finally was like, this isn't happening.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't really know when she changed her mind, but I also think that her father having a heart attack and surviving made her feel like this was her family. Like,
Mhm.
this is her found family, and
Mhm.
we're close and we've built a relationship. And it is hard to lose a feeling that you have with somebody. And that's what we see. Like, you can put money or shiny things or whatever it is in front of somebody, and maybe it's okay, maybe it's the right time and everything, but it's hard when you have a gut feeling with people,
Mhm.
and it's just hard to leave. It just is. And so I was thinking that it was maybe her father kind of shaking her up and deciding, like, what's important? How do I want to see my life move forward? But you're right about
Mhm.
feeling staged and how he tells her, oh, we're going to do a Caribbean blah, blah, blah
Mhm.
vibe. And that's not even her vibe.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's
are you
not her thing.
assuming? Yeah, are you assuming what you think that she can bring to you? Because
Yeah.
that's not it. So,
Mhm.
and
And
I
I
think
think, okay.
no, I think people know her.
Yeah.
At the Bear, people know her,
Mhm.
what she's capable of.
Yeah, and I think that when she did tell him then, his reaction solidified her decision. She's like, "Okay, this was the right decision," because he was kind of a jerk about it all, like she didn't owe you anything and that.
Yeah.
But I do like what you said about her father. That put, yeah, because I think like she was thinking if she lost her father, where's her family? It's the people that,
Yeah.
like kind of like you were saying,
Yeah.
and I do think that's a very good point too, that it possibly could have been then when she realized, oh my gosh, if I leave this and I lose my dad, who's my family?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is she's gonna have to rebuild a new family at this new
Right.
place and all that. So I like that
Yeah.
idea too. So it very well could have been then too.
Yeah. Okay, and Richie goes through some changes here, and, what do you think finally clicked for him this season?
So I think he finally found pride in himself. Like he finally realized he is worthy of something. I feel like he's always felt second to Carmy and Mike, like his whole life. Like he just felt like he was secondary to them because they were great at these things or they were just good guys, whatever it was. He just always felt like, and he was the cousin, not really even the cousin, he's like the cousin, not the cousin kind of thing. But they accepted him and all this kind of stuff. And they were brothers, so it was a different bond, but I feel like he always felt he was in their shadow. And so I think then it comes along, then he's got Frank, I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah.
Then he has that to contend with on top of it. But and he was again feeling second to him. You're like, oh, my daughter likes him better, my ex-wife likes him better, all these things.
Yeah.
But I think that he put those men, he put them on pedestals that they didn't need to be on. And then he realized they're just men like me and they have their own things. When he started, they seeing their flaws or their, maybe insecurities or different things like that. It was like, oh, wait a minute. We're all kind of on the same play, kind of even playing ground. And so then he was like, okay, I can do this. I can be the person I need to be for this situation that I'm, as is it maitre d'? Is that what I think that's what he is. And I just feel like he found some pride in himself finally and could accept that, okay, I'm worthy of whatever it is, these good things
Yeah.
that are coming my way. So,
Yeah. I think that also building on that confidence was that my favorite episode in 3 where he does that, orchestrates all of that
mhm,
for that person, and to give somebody that much joy
mhm.
makes you feel so good.
Oh,
And you're
yeah.
like, and I'm sure he's like, I'm good at this. I can
Mhm,
do this. I can make people feel special, and I want to make people feel special. And the way he was with Frank, he could be a jerk and say,
mhm,
"Hey, you trying to take my place, as my,
mhm,
daughter's father," but he's not. And he's good to the mother of his child. He's
mhm,
so good to her when they danced at the wedding
mhm,
together and they hugged each other. Oh, it warmed my heart. And
mhm,
also at that moment, and that's what I think was the tipping point for him, was when he was talking and saying that I think he was talking to Unc, I think, when they were talking about being the rock or the sand. And I think it was basically people want to be the rock. And he's like, wait, I think I'm the sand. He says, because the sand connects people, and that's what I do. That's
mhm,
my purpose. And so I think that all came together. It's like, I'm good at this. I'm good at
mhm,
connecting people. He's good at connecting, at the restaurant and on his personal life with his daughter and the mother of his child and Frank and everyone else, and being really good friends with Sydney. And so it was great to see his growth this season. I know we talked about Carmy, but what kind of growth did you see in Carmy?
I kind of feel like he set aside his ego, like he's the shit. He knows it. Everyone knows it, and he's good at what he does. And when you're
Yeah.
good, like, you don't necessarily mean that to go to your head because when you are talented with something, you want to share that gift with people. So
Yeah.
sometimes it gets, you kind of like overdo it kind of thing. And I guess I always feel like great people are made great partially by the people they surround themselves with. But a lot of times they don't pay attention to those people. They're like, oh, I got all these great people around me, but they don't credit them where credit is due kind of thing. And so I feel like he finally set aside that a little bit and kind of was able to notice the gifts in everybody else as well as like when he's you know s- praising Sydney for her that was a scallops thing that she did that they was praising and Marcus with his desserts and getting his recognition that he deserved and not the restaurant, it was the market, you know what I mean, like it was like, oh crap, it wasn't all of us, it was this specific person. So I think he finally just was able to put some of his ego aside, and not that his ego isn't well deserved because he's great at what he does, but
Yeah.
sometimes it gets in the way of the end game, I guess,
Yeah.
And so I just feel like that was a big growing moment for him this season.
Yeah, you are so right at putting his ego aside. And I think the growth that I saw was just becoming self-aware and also allowing himself to go through the grief. Because sometimes you forget as each episode goes by. I mean, his brother committed suicide. That's heavy. That'll stay with you forever. Any death of a sibling and other things do. But that's even, that's another level, and you have to go through that, and that's what I love about this whole show is that it deals with that with each person and how that impacts them all. But I do feel like he is growing a lot in this particular season. And we didn't really even talk about he and Claire and what that meant. And when he went to apologize, and at first she wasn't letting him in. Of course, he tried to apologize previous season or meet up with her, and that didn't work out. But, here he makes the effort to go and talk with her, and they keep talking throughout the episode. So I was glad to see, that they move forward in that too. Did you want to say anything about him and Claire?
I guess Claire doesn't do anything for me, so I just kind of forget about her most of the time. But I mean, it's good, but it's like, oh yeah, there's Claire. I mean, I don't know if it's just because I don't know what it is, or if it's just because she doesn't have enough screen time.
Yeah.
But I kind of forget about her a lot, so I wasn't I guess that didn't impact me as much.
I could see that. All right. So there are so many other characters, and we can't go through every single one of them. But is there anybody that really stood out to you, other characters? Because there are some other important characters here.
Well, I always love seeing John Bernthal. I love that they keep bringing him back to see these flashbacks. I love that just because he's so good.
Yes.
But Marcus, I really enjoyed Marcus's, just watching him with his pastries and his desserts and just all the things he was doing. And, I just loved seeing that, and that he got that recognition. That was really cool because I expected it to be Sydney. I didn't when they were coming in and saying that. I think that was kind of what they were trying to show. So I was really happy that he got that recognition because he's worked very hard. And he went to wherever that was. He went and did his studying, and he learned, and he paid attention, and now he's building on that. So I just really enjoyed, even though it wasn't. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff going on, like with his dad, and he's got that stuff that we're just seem to be barely touching on, and things. But I really enjoyed watching him this season.
I love Marcus. I love Tina. And she had like a goal this season. And I love how they kept showing her trying to figure that out and heading in the right direction and finally accomplishing it toward the end of the season. Sugar has been a revelation for me. I don't know how much I noticed her so much. I mean, yeah, she was important, but this season I realized how much I really liked her and her personality and everything she did. So it was good to see her and her fight with Francie. That was hilarious.
It was so good.
Yeah. And just different moments that she had. And I loved when she was excited when she got the call from Food and Wine and she brought it out. And when, like you said, Marcus being recognized. And did you see the way Carmy looked at Sydney like he thought it was going to be her?
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that happens. It's like when you're ready to win that Emmy or that whatever, and they look at you and they're like, you're going to go up, and then they name someone else and we're like, oh, sorry.
Oh, whoops.
Exactly. Yep. So, but
Sugar was really good. Yeah, I enjoyed her. Again, more growth there with her, but I did like that a lot. And her protectiveness of her baby and, just the goofball guys. And oh my gosh, they were so funny with the baby, smelling the baby and so
Yes.
Yeah. So no, she did it. It was, she had a lot of good moments this season too.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, the fight with Francie, and I mean, they were cussing up a storm, and it was so good because it felt so real. Like she was really, really mad at her and just giving it to her. So it was good to
they're
see.
Sisters, right?
No, I think they're I don't even know if they're cousins. They're just family friends, right?
Yeah, I guess I just was trying to think of how that was. But but anyways, regardless, it was very good.
Yeah. So, it was very good. So, all right. So there were a lot of guest stars here. There always are. There's reoccurring ones that we see, like Jamie Lee Curtis and so many others. And there were a few that popped in this season. So do you have any that stuck out to you?
So one of the characters that I really enjoyed, and he's again a guest star, so he hasn't been in much, is John Mulaney's Stevie. And I love John Mulaney's stand-up. He's hilarious. And my kids love him. So they're always, Mom, you gotta watch his new stand-up, you know? And so then, and we're constantly quoting his bits from his stand-up. And so to see him in this role, it was like, he's kind of like this, honorary member of the family, because he's not even related anymore, because he was married to, Michelle, I think. He was married to somebody who's not anymore, but they've kept him on. And, he's just kind of quirky, but he's kind of sweet, but he's kind of weird, and he's just this odd guy. But I loved his interaction with Frank when he was trying to explain the family get-togethers that he's in for if he's brought into this family. He's and how chaotic they can be in this, and it was just a fun little bit. But I liked him when I think this is maybe only his second time that he's been, because he was with of course that other episode where the whole family was there. He was there then. But anyway, I just thought he was a fun addition to this, just because he's just really funny. He's just such a good comedian and stuff. So I really enjoyed him.
Oh, there's so many good ones. As you were saying that, I'm thinking, all these people. Well, for me, I love Luca, Will Poulter. So he's just one of my favorites. I'm so glad he came back on this season. I'm like, yes, I love you. Also, I really am enjoying Jessica, who is Sarah Ramos. And so she is the one helping Richie. I love her. I'm like, she is so good. And I think she might keep, I'm assuming that she's going to keep going, because her and Richie seem to kind of hit it off.
There,
so, so I really like her. But, there's so many people. Carl Reiner, Sarah Paulson, just so many people, Bob Odenkirk, people popping up all over the place. Josh Hartnett being Frank, and it's just, it just goes on. And I know I'm missing so many people. And of course, I almost feel like I don't have to mention John Bernthal like you did, because I feel like he is a part of the cast, but he is a guest too, I suppose. So I can't, and I'm assuming he will continue, because I love seeing him. All right. We are going to do a rapid fire bear edition. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question, and you're just going to tell me what your answer is. And sometimes it doesn't go as fast as it should, because we
elaborate.
But we'll see how it goes. Okay. All right. First one. Who or what surprised you this season?
Carmy. That's the biggest surprise. That's kind of an easy one to answer, but that was just shocking.
For me, it's Carmy. I wanted to bring up somebody else, but I'm like, I can't help it. Carmy saying goodbye, that's huge. So that's the same one for me too. Okay, what moment made you laugh out loud?
Oh, that one's kind of hard. I'm sure I did, because I laugh all the time, but shoot. I don't know on that one.
Well, this might help you. I laughed several times, but really hard when Neil is at the door. He's at the door, right? And he's looking with his eye at Sugar. And he doesn't want to tell her. And she's like, what, baby boy? You can tell me anything. And he's all, I don't want to tell you, because you're not going to, whatever it is. And then she's like, just tell me it's okay. I love you, this and that.
You're my favorite boy or whatever.
Yeah. I told them to invite Francie to the wedding. She's like, what? She's so mad at him, and he goes running off. I was like dying.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Hilarious. And then the smelling the baby thing, which you had brought up. I was like, he wanted to smell.
It's true, they smell so good.
It is true, but it's so weird.
Especially two grown men. Don't really smell them.
I'm like, don't you smell my baby? What's wrong with you? So but it's funny. It's funny because we can relate to what a baby smells like, and we want to smell it, but then it's weird, and you're being weird. And Maddie, for being a chef, wow, he is a great comedic actor. I'm so impressed with him over and over again. And can I say, I think it's all his family, like even the other character, like his brother telling the other girl, his girlfriend, that he loves her or whatever, however he feels about her. That was so sweet.
It was.
This show has the best people, actors, performances. It just goes on and on. All right. What hit you in the heart the most?
There are lots of them, but probably one that really did was when Sydney got the call about her dad, because my dad's been going through a lot of health problems. So it was just like, oh my gosh, it was just like, I just felt for her so bad. And that one just, that was tough. That was so tough to watch her. And her acting is so incredible. And she's like, going through, she couldn't get a word out. She couldn't, she kept trying to say the sentence, and she repeat because she could not even focus on anything at that moment. And so, that was pretty heart-wrenching for me.
Okay. Side note, with you saying that, how they repeat, she does that and Carmy does that. And when they're arguing, they do that, but it feels so realistic. The way that they do that, they're both so good at it because they're like, because it's like they can't, like they want to say it so fast and then they're arguing at each other. I don't know. They both do it really good and it feels very genuine and I love it.
It totally does, because I feel like I would be in that situation where I want to get the words out, but I can't. And they do it so seamless. It doesn't even seem forced or anything.
Right. No, not at all. That's why it's so good. What hit me in the heart the most was that scene between Richie and Carmy at the end. That really hit me hard. It was heartbreaking. Okay. Did you learn anything new about the food world this season?
Probably. I guess I'll have to listen to you and maybe something will spark.
Well, mine is I learned a new word because I didn't know what it meant. I had to look it up. But stage, which is non-paid internship, apprenticeship, I had no idea what it meant because I knew that Luca was there. He was stage because they're like, oh, he's stage. I'm like, stage. What are they saying? How do you spell it? What's that word? And then later on, they talk about building. Oh, we didn't even talk about what's his name? Ibri, who's doing
that whole thing. Yeah,
that whole thing. How you can, by building out the beef, the beef, that if you get certain people, they can be stage. And I'm like, what are they saying? So I learned that word. I'm so happy. I know what it means now. Did you know what that meant already?
No, I Googled it, right? I was like, okay, how do you spell that? So I'm Googling because I'm like, I don't know what that is. So same here.
That's so funny.
I learned that too. But I'm sure there were many other things I learned, but I just thought, can't think of anything right now.
All the care, right? That goes into the kitchen.
Yeah.
Just everything that they do. I had no idea. Even the sommelier. How much work goes into all the wines, what they taste like, how important it is, and presenting all of that. It just reminds you is what it is. It reminds you of all the work that goes into all of this, which is so amazing.
I love to go out to eat to nice restaurants and things. And so it makes you more appreciate. I already appreciate it because I know a little bit about where, food service kind of thing, nothing on this level at all. But, just like, things and how hard it is. I mean, it's any type of restaurant. I don't care what you do. It is hard work, and people are never happy. And they're, you just got all this going on. But when you go to some place that's a little higher end, it's a little more, care is taken and all that, this kind of makes you appreciate that more because you're like, wow, this, of course I have this beautiful meal in front of me, but there's all this stuff going on back there I had no clue about, and so I think it does make you appreciate that a little more. I hope people appreciate it a little bit more.
Yeah. Last rapid fire question. What do you hope to see in season 5?
Oh my goodness. I just hope Carmy comes back in some fashion. I hope that things continue to, I guess they're starting to prosper now that they got the new, switch of the changing of the guards, I guess, if you will, and see what happens with that because they've got a good thing going. They just have to get on the right track before they're going to get back to, or, get, I don't know, like out of that funk Carmy kind of put them in with the same menu or the changing menu, I guess he had, the changing menu constantly and all that. So I guess, there's, I hope Carmy comes back. I think he will. And I'm excited to see what Sydney and, the group will do, Richie and Sugar, and the three of them together as, leading this. I think they're going to do really good things. And I hope that, we can see more with the family, of course, because now that, like, with their mom and stuff, with Donna, and just see where that goes now that they've been able to mend some of that.
I hope Carmy doesn't leave, but they all need peace, a little bit of peace and less anxiety.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine this without Carmy. So I know that they have ideas. I know they probably have this planned out, and it's going to be good, but it's hard for me to imagine.
Yeah.
So I want to see Carmy cook.
Mm-hmm.
I like seeing him cook. So I would miss him if he left entirely. So he has to do something. And also, now that the clock has closed down, zeroed, I mean, I would think the next day Jimmy would be saying, okay, this was it. Or is Carmy going to come back and introduce, okay, look, this is my plan and I need you to take a look at it because this is how we're going to make it work. Or is it the beef is going to kind of help them along? Because if they branch open, which I can't wait to see that, can't wait for those franchises to come out, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's going to be
the key. Yeah.
Wow, that's the key, right? Because that was showing you that that was making money. So I think that's going to be pivotal. All right, we are going to get back to our question of the day. So that is, what dish that you saw on the bear would you want to eat?
I want to eat Marcus's perfect donut because I've had a lot of really, really good donuts in my life. And so I'm like, okay, this has to be extraordinary. And I need to know what that tastes like.
I would love that. And I was hoping you would say the donut because that's so good. I have to go with the scallop because I am a scallop girl. I love it. It's one of my favorite dishes to eat. And to get it at a high-end restaurant like this with the ginger, I can't even remember, compounded butter, whatever it is that's on near that scallop. Oh my gosh, I can't even. I'm sure everything that they make, look, the beef sandwich. I want the beef sandwich.
Yeah, I want that too. Yeah.
Give me the beef sandwich. There's so many things. Carmy making that chicken for his mom and pulling it out of the refrigerator to make it, and then bringing it and plating it in front of her. And she saw, oh, where'd you learn this? He saw French Laundry. And then Richie says he bought that book and he thinks that, he's a genius for being able to even read the book. Because I guess it's really hard to decipher. But yeah, all the food. Give me anything that they make. Yeah. I will eat it. So.
Yeah, and if I wasn't allergic to shellfish, I would have picked the scallop too because that looks amazing. I love scallops. I can't eat them now, but I've had them and I know how incredible they are.
Friends out there, let us know, what would you eat? What food? I'm sure we've missed so many, and there are so many fantastic ones out there. So let us know what you would eat from The Bear Season 4. You can comment wherever you're watching us or listening to us. You can go to our social media. You can get there by going to screensinfocus.com. All of the social media is at the top. And our website is also in our show notes, so you can get to us there. You can even call us. If you want to leave us a message, you can call us at 669-223-8542. All this food talk, because it's never about just what's on the plate. It's about the people and the stories and the heart behind it. And that's what makes The Bear so special. Renee, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Anytime. I always love it. I love discussing movies, TV, music, whatever it is with you.
Me too. I'm so glad you said yes. I'm so glad you said I'm watching this. And I'm so happy that we did it. And everyone out there, stay tuned. We do have an episode of our favorite summer TV and movie recommendations. So look for that. It's coming out in just a couple of days. But also, if you enjoy this podcast, we are now on Coffee and you can buy us a coffee. So we have the link in the show notes for that. And remember to follow Screens in Focus for recaps, reviews, and real talk. And just keep exploring, keep watching, and keep those screens in focus. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.